Well,
we are 4 centimetres. Hopefully meet our Bubsy today.
Georgia just got more action in the last 4 hours than she's had for the last 6 months.
Hi guys, I am finally getting around to sharing our birth story today. I've been meaning to do it for a little while, but I haven't really had my hands free much, and Kobe's finally playing a little bit on her own. She's just sitting here under her mobile, like batting her little toys, so I have some free time. I will do my best to try and share this in chronological order, but bear with me if I jump around a little bit. I've shared this with friends and family, but never kind of all in one go and from start to finish, so bear with. I will start by saying I didn't have a specific birth plan in place. I kind of had more preferences depending on the situation and what happened, because obviously my first birth I didn't know how my body was going to respond or what was going to happen, so I kind of kept an open mind, and even though I did want my birth to be as natural as possible, I knew that if certain things happened, I had certain preferences in place. I didn't actually get to sit Mitchell down and talk him through my preferences because she came early. I didn't even get the chance to have my birth talk with my obstetrician either, but everything worked out in the end. Sorry about the jingling in the background, she's just playing with a little bell. Keeps her busy. The one thing I did know that I wanted to be in a hospital environment. That was just what was going to put me the most at ease, knowing that there was help around me if I needed it. So I knew that I was going to go to the hospital. I was 35 weeks and 1 day. It was a Sunday. So Sunday morning I woke up. I had actually slept in, which I'm so glad that I did. I had a really slow morning. I had kind of really slight cramps in the background. Didn't really think too much of it because cramps in your third trimester is super normal. So I kind of just chilled out for the day, which is unlike me on the weekend. Usually I'm like here, there and everywhere and trying to get things done. So I'm glad that I rested. I kind of just took it easy and stayed at home. The cramps kind of got a little bit worse throughout the day, but they were really irregular, nothing too painful. Mitch was also kind of just resting at home. He was playing PlayStation. I was just lying in the bed behind him on my phone, like just relaxing. And then throughout the day, they kind of started to ramp up a little bit. It kind of felt like just period pain, which I hadn't felt in a while, but again, like everyone just said to me, oh, it's really normal in your third trimester, so don't worry too much. I was kind of a little bit worried because I hadn't felt her move too much that day. Actually, my whole third trimester, she was not a very active baby, so I was a little bit worried because I hadn't really felt her kick too much. So later in the afternoon, when the pain didn't really go away, I called my obstetrician and I just said, hey, this is what's going on. And he said to me, you're 35 weeks, you're not in labour and you're still talking to me, so just take some Panadol and stay at home. So I was like, okay, I'm just overthinking it. I didn't end up taking Panadol because I wanted to kind of feel what was happening in my body, and just continued to relax. We had a really lazy day at home. Towards kind of early evening, the pain started ramping up, started getting worse, so I had a Wheatie bag with me at home. I was in and out of the shower a little bit, kind of, in a little bit more pain, but nothing too bad. It was kind of like, period cramps, I'd say, and sort of like lower back. So I was just in and out of the shower trying to ease the pain, thinking it would go away. But gradually, again, started ramping up. And then, I just kind of tried to like see it through because I thought I was overreacting a little bit, especially after that phone call with the doctor. But if I was going to give anyone advice, I'd say like trust your body and your instincts, because I knew deep down, I knew something wasn't quite right. And because it was so early and I hadn't really felt her move much, I was quite worried. So I got to about 2 a.m. in the morning and I hadn't been able to sleep just because of the cramping. I was resting in bed most of the time, just trying to really chill out. I timed the contractions a little bit, but it was they were kind of all over the place. Like, it was still really early labor, so the app was telling me to go to the hospital, but I knew I wasn't like in terrible pain yet. So I called my mum at this point actually, and I was like, what do I do? And she said, hey, like, if you're worried, you might as well just go and get checked, just to know that everything's okay with her. So I called the doctor again, and he said, hey, look, it's probably nothing, but just come in anyway and just get checked so that you can have some peace of mind type thing. So I woke Mitchell up, and he was like all flustered, didn't know what was going on. I kind of have skipped like the part of his reaction like earlier in the night. I said to him, oh, I think we should probably just pack our hospital bags just in case, and he kind of like panicked a little bit because he thought he had another 5 weeks to go. So earlier in the night I was sitting on the couch just directing him around with what to pack in our bags just in case we had to go to the hospital, and luckily I did. So at 2 a.m. we kind of got up and got ready, and I think we got to the hospital by about 3 a.m. Hi! So yeah, they put us on the women's ward, and we just waited for the doctor to come. They checked her heartbeat and everything was fine, she was fine. And then the doctor came and did an internal examination, and he kind of like, it wasn't painful by the way, he did it, and then he like looked at us and said, oh, you're going to meet your baby today. And we were all like ecstatic and excited and on a bit of a high. And I think at that point I was about like 2 centimeters dilated. And it was quite uncomfortable, like the car ride in was uncomfortable. I wasn't like in terrible pain, but I knew that something was going on. So from then we were kind of like, whoa, like we're on a high, this is happening. And then yeah, we just waited in that room for the next couple of hours or whatever. My mum ended up coming into the hospital. It was the first week of lockdown, so it was a bit, there were rules in place and masks and things, but my mum was allowed to come in, and Mitch was allowed to be there too. They kind of just sometimes had to swap between coming in, so he was allowed and then he would pop out and she would come in. And I was in that room for a couple more hours, and then I think it was after 4 hours or so, they came and examined me again. And I had progressed a little bit, so enough to move to the labour suite. So we moved to a bedroom, not a bedroom, one of the like labour rooms. I didn't get a pool, which I was really gutted about, but in the moment I kind of just pushed that aside and said like, this is happening, this is the situation, doesn't matter, move on. And just kind of like get in the zone. And so that was nice to be able to move to that room, because I could kind of then get comfortable in my surroundings and start to do my thing. So yeah, I laboured for quite a while. I think if I had known that everything was okay and I was in labour, I probably would have stayed home for longer, but they said because she was only 35 weeks, best to just stay and check that everything's okay with her. They kind of prepped us for things that can go wrong, or kind of obstacles that you can face with a 35-week delivery. So we were prepared for anything. I wasn't worried at all. I kind of had this mindset throughout my whole pregnancy and my labour, like whatever happens, we're going to deal with it and it's going to be okay, which I think really put me at ease. I mean, we were prepared in case she needed a feeding tube or a breathing apparatus or something like that, and we were just going to go with it and deal with it. So I did have to have a couple of straps around my stomach just to monitor her throughout my labour, which was a challenge in itself, because it meant I couldn't move around as much as I really wanted to, but my midwife was pretty good in the fact that she let me kind of take it off and walk around a little bit when I wanted to. I was able to get in and out of the shower a little bit as well, so it wasn't a major that I didn't have a pool there. And then yeah, I was in there until so we arrived at the hospital at 3 a.m. and then it was about 4-ish, maybe like 4:30 the next day. They came and did another examination. I think they'd done a few by then, probably about 3. And at this point I was about 4 or 5 centimeters, so I was progressing kind of slowly, like fairly normal for a first baby, but it was just taking a little while. I was just kind of using the Swiss ball, like hanging over the bed. Mum and Mitch were rubbing my back and doing things like that. Hadn't had any pain relief. Yeah, just kind of like trying to move around in my little spot as much as I could, hopping in and out of the shower, that kind of thing, and really focusing on my breathing, which I think helped massively. I, throughout my pregnancy, did a lot of research into hypnobirthing, which really put my mind at ease. I wasn't anxious about my birth. I was actually really excited to meet my baby. So throughout that time, I was just focusing on my breathing. My midwife was helping with that as well. And then, yeah, we made a call at, when I was 5 centimeters, I was progressing really slowly. So we made a call to break my waters. So the doctor came in and broke my waters. Literally, like, didn't even feel it happening. It just, like, all of a sudden, water just gushed everywhere. And it was, like, the weirdest feeling. It's, like, really warm. Like you've peed yourself almost. So that happened, and then literally within about a minute after that, the contractions really ramped up, and that's when I started really feeling them, and was in proper labour. So most of that time I was, I think from then on actually, I was on all fours on the bed. That was the most comfortable position for me. And yeah, Mitch was like amazing. He was like in my ear, like encouraging me, holding me, rubbing my back. I was one of those people in labour that really wanted someone to touch me. Some people say they hate physical touch. I just really wanted someone to rub my back because that's kind of where I laboured most. And then yeah, things ramped up, and then eventually the midwife was like, you are 9 centimeters, you can start pushing now if you feel the urge to. So I started pushing through the contractions, which I think wasn't the worst part. I think leading up to it is quite hard because you're not really doing anything when you're actually pushing the baby out. You kind of have something to focus on. Yeah, hi. She's so happy down there. Hello. So yeah, pushed for about maybe, I think it was about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then she was born. And she was the kind of baby that kind of just like shot out. There was definitely a ring of fire for a couple of pushes, but it wasn't anything like crazy. Midwife, the doctor, and my mum and Mitch were just like there helping me, holding me, like anything I needed. The thing that I think was really amazing was I had a straw with water, so like in between I got into this kind of rhythm where I would like push and breathe, and then the contraction would finish, and Mitch would give me a sip of water with a straw, and then I'd like go again, and I just kind of got into my head, and I had music going, but I honestly didn't even notice it was there when I was in proper labour at the end. And yeah, then she was born. She came out really healthy. She was screaming. So excuse me, she didn't actually need any assistance. She was tiny, like she was really, really small and fragile, but she was really healthy and happy. And yeah, we were just like, it's true what they say, when your baby's born you just get like this rush of endorphins and happiness. It was like the best moment of my life. We were just so stoked and so happy. And yeah, and then she was put on my chest. I quickly made sure that I took my top off, so I got some skin to skin with her and just lay there with her for a while, while they did all sorts of other little tests and they checked her and things. And then yeah, I felt like I held her for quite a while, and we were just like on this massive high. And then got up pretty much straight away, and we changed her and dressed her, and then after that I think a little bit of shock kind of hit me of what I had just been through, and I was like a little bit shaky, so Mitch took Kobe and had some snuggles with her and some skin to skin, and then Mum helped me in the shower, which was amazing. And yeah, we got changed and dressed and packed up our things and moved on to the ward. So we stayed in hospital for about a week just because she was premature, so they wanted to wait and see that she was doing okay and she was not losing too much weight and things like that. And she was pretty okay. She did really well actually, so we were pretty lucky, I think. And yeah, so Mum was able to stay with me in the evenings, and then Mitch was able to come during the day, so they kind of like swapped shifts like that. And the hospital staff at Auckland Hospital were absolutely amazing. Like, I could not recommend going there enough. It was just outstanding. And yeah, and she was a week old, and we brought her home and figured out life with a baby. I'll show you what she's doing.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Oh, look at those rolls. You change your nappy, hey?
Like, I've missed so much, so I'm really sorry. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. I forgot to say I laboured through, and then after they broke my waters, gave birth like 45 minutes later, so I didn't have any pain relief or anything like that. It was really intense, but it was absolutely doable and possible. See, she was born 35 weeks and 2 days. They couldn't tell me why. They did a couple of tests on my placenta, which was really thick and healthy, and nothing came back. So I mean, she came out screaming and well, so I think she was just ready. Yeah, you were just ready to come early, which I was super thankful for, because we had a little friend during lockdown to keep us. Something else, somebody asked me, did you tear? I had a few little first degree tears, so I didn't feel that. Oh, Bubba, I didn't feel that at the time at all. They stitched me up afterwards, which was like quite sore, because it's like poking and prodding in an area you just don't want somebody to touch anymore. Oh, hey, say hi.